Need some suspension work and shocks and brakes, brake pads, lining, steering box, transmission, rear end.
Ka-chow.
Just don't see no cars! It works! I love this button!
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
All right, welcome back to the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast, recording at you live from
Australia?
Is it? Oh, it is Australia.
Yeah, Sydney, Sydney, Australia, whatever.
We're doing Fall Guy.
Yeah,
Fall Guy, which this is kind of a sister episode to the Duel episode.
Kind of, yeah.
Because I also watched this on a plane recently.
So, and I watched Duel, and then I watched The Fall Guy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, we were saying that Duel was in 1971, created in 1971. Fall Guy, the new one with Ryan Gosling, was 2024. So that's 53 years.
Yeah.
So I went from watching this classic historical Spielberg movie from 1971 to 53 years later watching a brand new modern movie. So interesting.
If you're new to the show, we wait 10 minutes before we give any spoilers or talk much about the movie itself.
Yep.
When we do hit the 10-minute mark, you will hear, because we still can't find our Ecto 1 sound effect.
We can't, which is terrible. So we have...
Yeah, make do with that. But next time, next episode, we will have the Ecto 1 sound
we'll
back.
get it back.
Because I'm going to make you do that while I'm gone.
Oh, definitely. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
But yeah, so this is Fall Guy, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, modern movie. What?
Yeah.
You
You
where
already
do I start
started with
you?
the big size. Yeah.
How much? I don't remember as a kid you doing a whole lot of airline travel.
I didn't. I did some, but very little.
Do you remember when they would show just a movie on the plane and they're like, hey, we're starting a movie now, and if you want to buy headphones, you can, or just be poor and watch a movie without
I totally remember that.
Sound.
I totally remember that. In fact, I think it was before. Well, I think it was before you were born. I had to travel when I was a computer programmer. I had to travel out to Sausalito. And so, so from time to time, I'd fly back and forth. So I did some flying. Some of the jobs that I had, like when I went down to Huntsville for one job to work at NASA and stuff, that was later on. That was 1999.
Yeah.
So, that, but there was
your job was sending dogs into orbit, right?
It was.
Yeah. And to never return.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, not at all. I had nothing to do with any of that. But it was, back in the day, you had a movie that came up. If you were lucky enough and you got these cheap, headphones that were basically just empty tubes. Yeah. They were tubes that would plug into the arm of the whatever the seat.
Some of them still plug into the arm, baby.
Yeah.
And I was this trip, or the trip that I went on to watch this movie, was out to San Francisco and back.
Okay.
And way out there, you plug in the headphones to the headrest in front of you.
All right.
On the way back, they had it on the armrest, and the dude next to me just had his arm fully over the armrest. So I'm like, I guess I'm not listening to anything today.
Exactly.
Because heaven forbid I even look at the person sitting next to me.
I know.
When was the last time you were on a plane?
Last time I was on a plane... Oh, gosh. When was I on a plane?
You flew out to New York to get Nick's car.
No, I did, but I actually went out to see my brother in Colorado.
That's right. Oh,
so
yeah.
I did fly out fairly recently.
This last summer? Or last fall?
October, November, somewhere.
October, because
November.
I was...
It was November. It was maybe late October, early November, but it was
because I was in North Carolina.
Yes,
and that was October 16th. Per my medical bills.
Yeah, no kidding. So yes, I have fairly recently flown, and it was, believe it or not, it was a packed flight, absolutely full. However, it was a good flight. I had a nice flight.
What was the seat entertainment there? Because now
it was really
not to bury the lead. Oh, really?
Well,
the flights that I go on. It's touchscreen. It's got the first season of Sopranos. It's got like I think it's like 200 or 300 movies.
Yes,
you could watch the flight map. Love that.
So here's the thing. Yes, they did have a thing where if you had your phone, you could attach your phone to their internal like Wi-Fi, basically. And what did I watch? Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Oh, Frozen. Okay.
Yeah. So I watched that.
You rewatched it, yeah.
I rewatched it, which was fun. I actually enjoyed that.
Did you? Okay, quick review of it. Did you enjoy it more the second time?
I would have to say yes. I think that I actually did enjoy it better more the second time. I don't know why exactly, and also the Wi-Fi was pretty bad, so it kept like stalling, and then it would reboot and blah blah blah.
Was there a screen in the seat in front of you?
No.
Interesting.
No, it was on my phone.
What'd you fly?
Spirit? No.
Hey, I recently flew Frontier, man.
No,
they are in the same lane.
Yeah, that's.
First class seat. I booked 2 first class seats on Frontier. First class in Frontier is the same as every other seat, but they just block off the middle seat for the first 3 rows.
Exactly. Good.
Yeah. Nice. God bless.
Yeah. So, no, I flew. Actually, I flew Southwest, and it was. My brother had actually signed me up, however he does it, because they're changing the seating now. But at least at this time when I did this, you could choose your own seat. It depended on what group you were in.
I would much rather have nails shoved into my eyeballs than have to choose my own seat while boarding an aircraft.
I totally get that. I understand. I feel the same way. I would rather definitely have a chosen seat that is like, I know exactly where I'm going to sit.
Give me the middle seat.
Yeah.
Give me the middle seat, but I know where I'm going.
Right.
And I don't have to have, heaven forbid, I choose a window seat and then someone looks at me and they're like, I don't want to sit next to that, and move on to the next one. I like that people are forced to sit next to me.
I get that.
Hey, buddy,
I understand.
We bought tickets at a similar time.
I totally get that. I happened to, with this flight, I happened to sit next to decent people. The guy sitting next to me was nice. Everything was fine. It was a full flight. They said every single seat was loaded on the plane. Every single seat was taken. And then there was at one point. And I was sitting. So they asked if somebody would get up and give their seat to this woman who was having trouble walking, and I was going to do that. And then they said. They said, you're too far back in the plane, is what they said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they wanted someone way up front.
Yeah.
So they were very nice to that person. There was a guy who got up, and he said, that's fine.
Sure.
Very, very nice. And then they swapped seats and stuff like that. But no, I was actually too far back. And I was like...
No, not you. Not you. Hold
Exactly. I raised my hand. No, you. Put your hand down.
Sit back down.
Put your hand down. Put your hand down. You ugly son of...
Just looks at you and just shakes their head. No. I've been...
Yeah.
That reminds me. I have become such a pest on the road.
Really?
Like just an angry driver.
Yeah.
This lady, so by my house, there's this merge that goes through like a forest preserve. It goes from a 4-lane down to a 2-lane.
Yeah. Right.
And this lady came inches from my bumper.
Yeah.
Inches from on the phone, the whole
of
nine.
Course, yeah.
And the forest preserve isn't that long. It's like maybe half mile, 3/4 mile.
Right.
And so I get up next to her at the stoplight.
Yeah.
I'm turning right. She's going straight.
Yeah.
I had sunglasses on. This is very visual, but you're going to have to imagine it for audio listeners.
Okay.
I had sunglasses on. I
Right.
lower the sunglasses so I can look over them. I put them down to
So
the
you're
end of my
looking
nose.
over your glasses. Yes.
After I make eye contact with her, I lower the glasses. I get next to her. And I go like this with my finger.
Oh, you wag your finger.
I wag my finger left and right. And I saw her start yelling at me.
Yeah.
But she's in her car. Her windows were up. My windows were up. So there was no audio. And I just drove away at a very slow speed.
Wow.
But I was so proud of myself because so many jerks cut you off in traffic and whatnot. And I didn't yell at her. I didn't call her a name. I didn't try to get in front of her.
No,
I just shook my finger and said, slow down. Slow down.
Bad girl. Yeah. Bad girl. No, you're not. You're not. You're a bad girl. Yes, you are. You're a bad girl.
It was a German Shepherd that was driving the car.
Which made a lot of sense then.
Yeah, of course.
The
in-flight infotainment, it's crazy. I had so many movies to choose from.
That's good.
It's been really nice. I've been traveling a lot for work.
Yeah.
A lot.
You have been traveling a lot.
Here's the thing, and this might break your heart.
Yeah.
I truly hate being on planes now.
Do you really?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Okay. Well, that happens.
I was standing in the airport in San Diego last week.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. Yeah. I don't want to go through security. I don't want to get yelled at again. I don't want to sit in a tiny seat.
Yeah.
I just want to be home.
Well, and
I know that there's 8 hours between me and my bed.
Well, and you have people that do that all.
I'm not even like
not
I travel.
Much anymore,
I'm on a plane maybe twice a month.
Yeah,
which to me is and to be fair, that's 4 planes there and back. But and it's all covered by work, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate to be in my position. But I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, I'd be so excited to get on a plane. Because it is very exciting. You're up in the sky and you take...
It's cool.
But now it's just like, I've done it so much that I'm like, I just want to be at the spot. Like, teleporting would be so cool.
It becomes like you're on a
We're at 10 minutes, by the way.
Okay. It becomes like you're on a flying bus, is basically like you're on a commuter bus. You just kind of get used to that. So that's kind of the way.
What? Oh, hey, oh my God. I didn't know that. I didn't see your finger hovering over it for about a minute and a half. So we can talk about Fall Guy.
Yeah, we can talk about Fall Guy.
That I watched on a plane it's
Which
always
I did
fun.
Not.
You should have turned on like a plane ambient noise in the background, and I'll just cry 30 feet behind you.
Oh, good. That would be great. Yeah.
No, Christopher Nolan always talks about how like the proper way to see his movie is in 70 millimeter. And yeah. So there's a meme going around of like people watching Oppenheimer on a Logitech fridge. Or like an LG fridge.
Like the
fridges that have screens.
I know. It is, yeah.
And they're like, oh, is this what you intended, Mr. Christopher Nolan? And like, because it started with people like watching it on planes. And they're like, oh, like the way he really intended it to watch on a tiny screen as people are crying around you.
Well, 70 millimeter, that's 7 centimeters. So basically, yes, that is the right size.
Technically, it's a 1-for-1.
If he's saying 70 millimeter. Yeah,
but I was excited to watch this movie. It had been on my list to watch for a while.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I just
curious to see what you think of this movie.
Got around to, well, I guess we can talk about what were your thoughts? Because I'll be honest, watching it, I thought that you would really like it.
Okay,
because there's a lot of head nodding and
yes, there was
to just the film industry.
Exactly,
when he's talking about like we're on streaming, what fourth wall break, like the when they're fighting and it's a prop knife. And he's like, hey, wait a second.
Is this a prop sword? Yeah. It's like, oh yeah.
I thought that there was just a lot of tongue-in-cheek inside baseball movie stuff that I thought you would like.
There was. And there was some, like you said, there was some nods to like Lee Majors and stuff like that, who was the original Fall Guy.
Right, who was also $6 Million Man.
Who's also $6 million.
$6 million man. 1/10 of our studio cost man.
Which is hilarious if you think about it nowadays. $6 million in nowadays
money is like not. We should do the inflation calculator.
Yeah,
because when was $6 million?
Oh gosh, I think that was late 70s, maybe.
All right, let me get on the Googs.
I think that's
talk
like
about
mid to late 70s.
Tell me why you did or did not like it.
I can't say that I did not like it, but I also can't say that I totally liked it.
Interesting.
So there were, the reason I say that is because there were actually bits and pieces of it where it's like the movie didn't know what it wanted to be. It was like an adolescent that was like, oh, do I want to be serious, or do I want to be a comedy movie, or do I want to do everything tongue in cheek, or do I... The issue that I had is straight up like this. The romance part with Ryan Gosling and whatever her face is.
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt.
Married to the person that played Jim on The Office.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, John Krasinski.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that romance thing between them was way too serious. Way too serious. It was like that the movie came to a screeching halt when the two of them were talking about any kind of relationship. Beyond that, it was kind of a fun movie with some stuff that was just totally way out there. Like that would never happen and blah, blah, blah. And there are things where, they talk about how movies are made, but then there's no way that on the set she would not know who when he first...
of course.
When he first goes on to her set on her movie, she would have gone definitely and talked to the person because they do a ton of prep work with stunt people. Trust me, they know everybody that they're about to film and everything. It's just.
I do want to say just a quick interjection. The $6 Million Man in 1977. Would be
77.
Just a random number threw out there. Would be the $32 Million Man.
Oh, 32.
Which still doesn't seem that
doesn't seem.
I feel like it would have to be like $1 billion man.
Yeah, the $1 billion man.
But sorry, going back to it, I will agree with you. The romance, I mean, I wasn't bothered by it, but I could see it was fine. Whatever.
I think to me, honestly, with the feel of this movie, it would have been more fun if they had a very light relationship, more of a bouncy, hey, we're gonna, we kind of get on each other's nerves kind of thing, and that's our fun relationship that we have, is that we kind of tick each other off. That to me would have kept the pace going a little bit better in the movie, but it slowed down to a creeping halt, and they were so serious. And it was like, okay, well, this is a really serious romantic movie, and then it's like, oh no, we're gonna do something fun, and I'm gonna jump out a window, and I'm gonna do a nod to the guys that get set on fire all the time and stuff, and all the the stuntmen. There was a ton of like, that actually was kind of funny, when he did that, or when he he's jumping through things, and like the prop gun, the prop sword, things like that, which I didn't understand the character of the woman who was in the apartment when he first went there, and she had the prop sword, and she was in a movie, so she was an actress in a movie, and she was trying to kill him with the prop sword. And then after a while, when he realized it's a prop sword, she was kind of like, yeah, it's just a prop sword. Hey, how you doing? Everything's okay.
Yeah.
They started to like have a regular conversation. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So, and then there was a scene in the movie too, kind of like what you said about Duel, where I actually had to back it up and go, wait, how did that happen? Like, how did he get there? And that was near the end of the movie when he was in the boat and he was being chased by the bad guys, and it was before he jumps through the ring of fire or whatever. So what happens is he gets away from the bad guys and he's being chased on a boat. And then all of a sudden, it's like, there's this exciting chase scene, and they're shooting at him, and there's guns, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, he's in a quiet, like a quiet area, and he's kind of hidden the boat. And I'm like, how did he get there? From all of a sudden, he was like being chased at high speeds by the bad guys. All of a sudden, he's in a very quiet place near a dock or something, and he's talking to his girlfriend.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, how did you get to that point? Yeah. I didn't understand how that happened. There's like a lot that was cut out of that. So that was like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't understand that. And obviously there was a lot of things that were fakey. And then, of course, the thing, I do like the homage to Lee Majors and the $6 Million Man, because at one point he does a move, and when he does the move, they play the sound effect.
See, I didn't catch this because I've never seen $6 Million Man or the original Fall Guy series, which was technically based off a TV series, I guess.
Yes, and it was Colt Seaver's, same name.
Yeah.
And he drove a pickup truck. And the old TV show was very, very 70s, like oh yeah, this is just kind of like the Duke Boys. It's kind of like the Dukes of Hazzard kind of.
Which have we ever done a Dukes of Hazzard?
I don't know. I don't think we.
Oh, you know what? We haven't. When I drove to Colorado, I picked up that Starsky and Hutch Dukes of Hazzard dual DVD. I don't know where it went.
I don't think we actually got to the movie or the Dukes of Hazzard. We did do the movie Poker Run. And the other one.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what you're thinking. Yeah.
And Christmas Cars.
And Christmas Cars. 2 classics. Wait, if you really want to listen to something fun, listen to those podcasts on that. Yeah. Those, we really rip those apart.
We are making it a goal, though, to go to John Schneider land.
Yeah, I would totally go. In a heartbeat, I would go. We need to do that. But those shows, and going back to the whole Colt Seavers, and that was back when in the 70s shows everybody had the name of a gun. That was the name of the main character. It was always Colt, or what was another one? I was going to say there was a show with Smith and Wesson. There was 2 people, but there's
Joseph Luger.
Not quite that, but there was like
Daniel Day 44 Magnum.
Magnum PI. Yeah, Magnum PI.
I stumbled into it.
Magnum PI was definitely one of them, and that was
more like Magnum PU. Am I right?
Why?
I don't know. He just seems like he smelled bad. His Ferrari Testarossa.
Well, that was actually a pretty cool car back then. It was.
Was it a Testarossa?
No, it was a Ferrari 308 GTI. It was not a Ferrari 308 GTB, which I had a model of. And I always wanted it to be the Ferrari 308. I think it was GTI.
Was it GTI or GTO?
Maybe it was GTO. Could have been.
Either way.
Anyway, cool car at the time.
Yeah.
It was fun. And the premise of that was pretty fun, too.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s, when everyone had the name of a gun, basically, was part of their whole thing. Remington Steel. Remington.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that it was kind of more playful and stuff. And that Colt Seavers back then was a very lighthearted, fun. It was like a fake kind of a Private Eye show. It was enjoyable. Those kind of shows were bubblegum. You did not get. That was like Knight Rider. You did not get heavily invested into any kind of, there was no serious thinking going on.
And I felt that way about this movie.
Yeah.
I genuinely really liked the movie.
I didn't. Okay, good.
I really liked the movie. I thought it was fun. I thought it was lighthearted. I thought it was tongue-in-cheek. I really like Ryan Gosling. And I think another movie we need to do of his is Drive.
Oh, Drive.
I have not seen Drive.
I've not seen Drive either.
I'm a little worried about it because he's like, he's a wheelman without a cause. And he wears this like leather jacket with a scorpion on the back, and he's like a wheelman for hire.
Okay.
And I'm worried that it's gonna be like,
yeah, that could be.
I'm not like other guys.
That could suck.
I'm so different.
Right.
I'm dark and mysterious because I don't say words.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because there's a couple people that I know that really try to imitate him, and they're like, I'm dark and mysterious.
Oh,
you're not going to know my next move. I'm a crazy guy. And I'm like, no, you just need medication and you're not taking it.
Wow, that was kind of flamboyant.
It's the same people that idolize the Joker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they're like, they dye their hair green and they're like, you don't want to mess with me.
You need to back off. You need to not mess with me. You know,
you need to cut it out.
Right, exactly. You need to.
I'm back in Gotham. This took a turn.
And I'm fabulous.
Batman, those shoes. Too much rubber.
Girl, do not go there.
No, it's just the movie dropped. Which, by the way, hold on, quick, put a pin in everything.
Mm-hmm.
We went on almost no tangents in the last podcast.
I know, wasn't that crazy?
We stayed on topic. We've been staying on topic as of recent.
And I tried to pull back a couple times when I did get off topic.
Sure.
Try to pull back to where we were at. Like the Colt Seavers show, blah blah blah.
Sure.
The West Wing.
Yeah, we've been doing good.
We've been doing good. So getting back to it. Yes, but yes.
No, I think we should watch Drive. I just saw it on some. Maybe I saw it on the plane again.
Yeah.
I live on a plane now.
I know, it's like you're like a terminal. You're like that guy like Tom Hanks. It's living. No, that's
Terminalist.
No, terminal is actually where the guy.
Oh yeah,
he
he's
lives
stuck
in
with he's like goat medicine, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Watch the movie. Okay. Inside joke.
Okay.
I like Ryan Gosling. I like Emily Blunt. I just thought like it was just fun.
Yeah. I'm on the fence with Ryan Gosling.
Interesting.
I am. I'm on the fence.
See, you know who I'm on the fence with now? Ryan Reynolds.
Really?
Yeah, some stuff has come out that's not so great about him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to hear that.
And I don't know. The public opinion is changing on Ryan Reynolds, but okay. I like Ryan Gosling. Have you ever seen a movie?
I did see
with
Barbie.
him?
I did see Barbie.
Oh yeah, he's in Barbie.
So he's in Barbie.
Funny enough, another GM movie.
Oh, is it really?
So Barbie.
Yeah.
How did you not notice the EV Blazer commercial in the middle of the movie? There's a car chase for zero reason. They're driving a blue Chevy Blazer EV that wasn't even out when the movie came out.
Maybe I was getting a sandwich, a white cheese sandwich,
a hoagie.
I don't know. I mean, that's really weird. I don't remember that.
There's Hummer EVs in Barbie. They drive a Blazer EV, and it like slides into frame. You could tell it's a CGI car because the car didn't physically exist when the movie was made in Barbie.
Yeah.
And it even took me out of the movie. I'm like, oh, this is just product placement.
I think, no, I totally get that. I think my big hang up is that I'm completely jealous of his abs. Like, he has amazing abs.
Yeah.
And he's, he's like this totally handsome guy. And in this movie,
he's funny.
Well, he is.
Yeah.
But in this movie, again, he plays a character that's a tough stunt guy, but he's really handsome. I mean, he's really good looking. And it's like, wait a minute, why aren't like every woman?
I know stuntmen, they're ugly little oafs. Wait a second. They're little gremlins.
They're little trolls.
Yeah.
They're all trolls.
The stuntman make a stinky. You're spitting on them.
It's like, okay, he's like a model, and he's doing this. So, and then you'd be like, well, why? Because he literally does look exactly like the guy that he does the stunts for in the movie. Like, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just have this guy be the star of the film?
Star power.
Yeah.
Got to get people in butts and seats.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's,
the director who, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Let me pull it up here in a second. David Leitch, Leitch.
Okay.
He also directed Hobbs and Shaw, Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay. All right.
And he is a former stuntman.
Oh, he is.
So he performed stunts in The Bourne Identity.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, that was cool because like this really truly is just a love letter to the industry.
Yeah,
it's a love letter to stuntmen and like kind of highlighting them, which as we'll talk about, there's no Oscar for.
Yes, and exactly. And if you watch the credits, there's a lot of behind the scenes fun stuff with the real stuntmen in there.
And I think this was kind of like this one's for us kind of movie, and like other people in the stuntman industry, it's like, they finally made a movie about us. Yeah. I also love movies that are about movie making. Yeah. Because to me, it's so funny that the craft services in the movie probably had a craft services.
Right.
And the director in the movie had a director, and the cameras that they're using were filmed with other film cameras. Like, it's just so meta to me.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, and that's They should do a movie just on craft services. That's it. That's the whole
There
movie.
should be an award for craft. Who?
Yeah, well,
who
that
just
actually
won,
would be good. That would be good.
Who just won like an Academy Award or something, and they thanked craft services
Did they really?
for keeping them
good
going, and
Yeah.
like they always were on top of it. And like,
I'm telling you, it is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's a big deal. When I was doing like independent stuff, every single time, like you absolutely have to have craft services. You have to have food available. When I was doing like industrial videos even, we would always make sure that we had food available to everyone, all the talent, everyone, the crew, everything, because that literally does keep them going.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be ticked off. Like if you don't have anything available for them to eat or to munch on or whatever, it's a big no-no.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Anyway, yeah. So
yeah. So my point being is I looked at this of like just pure entertainment, just trying to get me through the 4-hour flight, and it did.
Yeah.
I didn't pause it. I didn't fall asleep like
Well,
I did with Duel.
well, you and I should have the awards. Like we could do that award.
Yeah.
We're pointing to the award because
We have an Oscar on the shelf.
We have
We're not going to say who we're from or what or why.
right. It just happens to be there. But the thing is that if you had that would be pretty cool actually to have people nominate like the best craft services and the things that never get really any kind of recognition. But there are a ton, and that's the thing with movies is there is a boatload of people that never get seen, that never get any kind of they're not.
Yeah.
There's
It
so
takes a
many
village to make a film.
It takes a city.
Yeah.
Not just a village. I mean, we're talking about tons and tons and tons of people. And that's the true miracle of a good film. When a good film gets made, it is a miracle because so many people have to be involved and so many people have to get it right on so many different levels. And that's the amazing thing. So when you have a film like RoboCop, okay? If you ever watch the behind the scenes how it was made, it's amazing it ever got made. Same thing with Ghostbusters. Same thing with a lot of films. And when you see them, Die Hard, another one. It's amazing that they ever got made, and it's amazing that they all came together like, oh yeah, that was perfectly planned. Everything was perfectly planned. A lot of it isn't, and it's a lot of So anyway, but it's
actually
very interesting.
Another tangent. I heard Matt Damon talk on a TikTok recently.
Yeah,
and don't do it.
But I'm not going to.
He was saying that like
I'll do my Gilbert Gottfried.
Matt Damon. He was talking about like why don't they make like middle to low budget like rom-coms anymore and like just random silly funny movies,
right?
And he said that streaming has ruined all of it because
really?
if they didn't, if they put out a movie and they spent $50 million on it, and they make $20 million at the box office, they still had the opportunity for DVD sales and rentals and VHS tapes to fill in that other $30 million. And he's like, a lot of the time those smaller comedy movies would. Superbad, the comedy, which had nothing to do with Matt Damon, but Superbad.
He didn't star in
He's
that?
McLovin.
I thought I recognized him.
remember, sorry, totally got the story wrong. It was Mama's Boy. No, Grandma's Boy. I'm sorry.
No, it was RoboCop.
This is what happens when you scroll on TikTok for us. Grandma's Boy. It was Nick Swardson.
No, it was Kindergarten Cop. So, okay, yep.
It was twins with Danny DeVito playing both twins. In a Jersey Mike's commercial because that's what Danny DeVito does now. It was Grandma's Boy, Nick Swardson.
Okay.
And he said that it absolutely flopped in the theaters. Yeah. But it made so much money on DVD.
Yeah.
That it made all of their money back.
That's
and now
what happened.
That's just not a possibility.
That happened with Napoleon Dynamite. Exactly the same thing. It tanked in the theaters, but then afterwards there was a whole cult following and it really gained momentum, but it was in DVD sales, it was after sales and stuff
and that's
like that.
Just not
you
can't really do that anymore.
No, you can't. So you really have to make
all your money in the theaters and then hope for streaming, but streaming doesn't really pay.
No, I don't think it does. I mean, I don't know that much about it, and I don't know all the revenue streams and like that. But I do know, yes, you either, well, number one, you need to do well domestically, but then international, you also need to do well with that too. So a lot of movies, they try to have it be fun enough to do well internationally.
Yeah.
Because that can help save a movie too, even if it's not a great movie and you haven't done a ton. If it's relatable to people in other countries and they can enjoy it and watch it and have fun with it, that's great. You could make some money up there. But yeah, theaters definitely still theaters. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That the theater, it's that important. But you're right, and that's the issue. And then also, for the big studios, they have a lot of movies. Studios have a lot of movies that tank.
Yeah.
And you always go, oh, here's this movie studio must have made a lot of money on such and such. You name it. Like I think RoboCop was done for a little bit of money, and they made a ton of money. Alien was made for a little bit of money, made a ton of money. But you have to remember too, that same company had a ton of movies that did terrible and lost a lot of money on the other movies. So it's not like they're making. Yes, they're making good money. Let's just put. Yeah, they're definitely. They are driving. Maseratis. But
sure.
Anyway,
stupid purchases, but sure.
Well, that's what I mean. It's stupid money.
Dumb money.
But it is one of those things. So, but yes. So the whole idea, the whole premise of stuff like this and these kind of movies. I mean, I have no idea how much this movie was made for.
Not a clue. Should have looked it up. Didn't.
The stunt guy is that the name of the movie? I cannot.
Fall Boy. Fallout Boy.
The Fallout King.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you have to look at that, and it's all. That's the other thing too that people don't remember or don't think about is the fact that it is a business. So you need to overall, the company needs to make money, and just to keep everything going. People need to go to the theater still to drive that. But you're right. With streaming, I'm not sure exactly how that works, and it's scary.
I know it's like they get paid out per view.
Oh, they do?
Which is why Netflix will do like the, hey, are you still watching?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because technically you could just, back when they had Friends on Netflix,
right?
You could just let it run for 12 hours, and they're paying $1. I don't think it's $1 per episode, but they're paying
they're paying out something,
a penny per episode.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And it
per
would,
person or per viewing.
Yeah. So I know that's how it works. I know that works with streaming music too.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So like each song, every time you play a song, they're getting paid out a little bit. I mean, it's fractions of pennies. But that being said, getting back to The Fall Guy, the movie that we're talking about, I don't know. I really liked it because it was very, I don't know, it's just like a movie to be a movie too. Like it. I also, when I watched it, had no idea that Fall Guy was a show in the past.
Oh, really?
I had no idea. I had never heard of it.
Funny.
So to me,
I'm
watching it and I'm like, this is such an original idea. I'm like, wow, it's hard to find a Hollywood movie these days that's like original IP with all new characters. It wasn't.
There's very few things nowadays that are really truly original.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to come by.
Which, by the way, I watched Carry On. Have you seen Carry On Netflix? It's David
Duchovny. It's
Jason Bateman.
Is it?
And the guy who's the main character from I can't even think of the movie now.
Gilbert Gottfried?
Yeah. What's the James Bond like movie? Golden Circle.
What?
It's the what? It's the British spy movie, The Gentleman. No.
Oh, I think you're Austin Powers. No, you're talking about Mr. who plays Mr. Bean.
No. No.
I know it is. It's Christopher Guest. No, it is the guy who plays in the.
It's Colin Firth.
Yes, it's the Kingsman.
Thank you. The main character from Kingsman, Eggsy.
Okay.
The guy who plays him and Jason Bateman, and it's a thriller set in an airport. TSA.
So
it's an interesting movie.
But
I almost died watching it.
What?
I almost swallowed a piece of chicken bone.
Ooh.
It like started to go down my throat, and I was like, "Bleh!" And I got it right back.
Good.
I almost died.
Well, here's the thing. That is one of my big fears, actually, is chicken bones. I absolutely...
Really?
Oh, gosh, yes. I really am careful in chicken because I'm always afraid I'm going to get a chicken bone stuck in my throat or have it go through my system.
Good
whatever.
movie.
Anyway.
Original movie. Anyway, cars were in this movie.
That's true.
Because
there were many cars in the movie.
They had a GM sponsorship.
They did, and they even said that in the movie.
Which we'll get to.
Okay.
GM is interesting. GM is Chevy, used to be like Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Saturn, Hummer. But it's Chevy, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. There's no cars built actually under GM. That's like the parent company. So it's GMC, Chevy, Cadillac, Buick these days.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it used to be Saab, Oldsmobile, that sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all of this movie is partially because of Smokey and the Bandit.
What?
So GM approached the creators of Smokey and the Bandit, or Smokey and the Bandit approached GM. I don't remember which happened. But basically, the Pontiac Trans Am being in Smokey and the Bandit made that car so popular overnight. It literally doubled their sales. They sold like over 100,000 of these things.
Jeez. Wow.
Just off of the movie.
And as I recall, they were not cheap. That was not like a...
Yeah, I mean, I think the one that I drove was like $8,000 in the in the 70s.
Yeah. That was not... That was a... And it was hard to find them, too. That was like...
GM saw so much success from that it has become a part of GM's zeitgeist of get these cars into movies. So of all of the automotive brand deals that you see in movies, GM has been the most prominent.
Wow.
The Transformers movies, the original trilogy. Bumblebee was always a Volkswagen Bug.
Oh,
but when the live action came around, he turned into a Chevy Camaro.
I got it. Okay.
Every single Transformer was a GM product.
Wah, 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 wah. I'm trying to do that sound effect.
Except for Optimus Prime, because they didn't. GM doesn't make semis.
Oh, okay.
But Ironside was a GMC Sidekick. Ratchet was a Hummer ambulance.
Really?
Jazz was a Pontiac Solstice. Bumblebee was a Chevy Camaro. And even in the later movies, they used Chevy Aveos. There was one guy that was a Corvette Stingray.
So Kia Sorento in there at all? Is that what? Because that's
Kia Forte.
Kia Forte.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we also got other like Barbie had GM vehicles. In it.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
And they saw huge success with the Camaro as well in 2007 for the Bumblebee. Or Bumblebee being it in the Transformers.
Yeah.
There have been other brand deals. BMW had a deal with James Bond for a while. James Bond randomly switched to BMWs away from his Aston Martin for a couple of years.
Yeah, the Z3 and stuff.
Z3, but also the Z8. I remember the Z8, which was the silver one.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That had a V8. That was sick. And those cars go for millions now.
No.
Very rare.
The Z8s?
Yeah, the Z8s. They only made a handful. It was a very rare car.
Okay.
He also had the 750 IL.
Yes.
Which they call in the movie the 750 Li.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they mixed up the last two letters.
Wow.
And then that's the one he drives on his cell phone.
Yeah, right.
Which is a reality now.
Is it?
You could drive a Tesla. You could have your Tesla come pick you up.
That is pretty wild.
Hyundai cars that I've had, you could drive from the key fob.
Wow.
It's not
That's crazy.
insane now.
Well, there's a lot of James Bond tech that is really very real right now.
Yeah, which we should have done a recap of the James Bond exhibit that we went to.
Yes.
Maybe we should do that someday.
That would be definitely a lot of fun. I've always thought of that too, that there are so many great things to talk about in James Bond movies. They're so cliche, and yet they're so fun and so interesting. There's so much. There's so many vehicles. There's so many things to talk about in those. But yeah, definitely the fact that we went and we the different things that we've seen, not only in the Peterson Automobile Museum, but also at the Museum of Science and Industry.
They had a James Bond exhibit, which I think is still
I don't know if it's still there.
There's still a billboard on I-65.
Oh, really?
Yeah, showing it, but
super cool.
Yeah, and we got to do
exhibit.
the media preview, which was really cool,
great.
and we got to meet the guy that did the stunts, which
was so cool.
Yeah,
that guy
was
great.
a special moment.
Super nice guy, like the nicest, calmest, super cool guy.
Yeah,
and he's like, I did the
Well, he also did the semi flip for the Dark Knight.
That's what I was gonna say. And the way he said it was like, I did the semi flip. And
he was like, well, there was only 2 spots we could really do it where the cement was thick enough, and I was like, what?
Yeah, because they actually did it. They actually flipped a real semi, and that was a practical.
Yeah.
So anyway, but there's
Fall Guy. we'll get to the. I complimented our non-tangents earlier, and then it sent us on the tangents. So this had the GM deal, I guess.
Yeah.
Have it. They had 2 GMC Sierras, which pissed me off.
Why?
You can't get that paint scheme. So the thing was is that in the movie, Colt has this old retro pickup truck.
Yes.
And then which was black.
That was on the show, by the way.
Right, which was black with gold down the side, and it was the old square body design.
Yeah.
Then in the movie, they have 2 brand new AT4X GMC Sierras, which is like their updated off-roady trim, those are like $90,000 trucks.
Oh, okay.
But they did them with like the cool roll bar and the black with the gold down the side to mimic Colt's truck.
Yeah, it was cool looking.
Super cool looking.
Yeah.
That's not an option on those trucks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they should have made it either a sticker package in real life.
Yeah.
Or done an actual color that you could get. Because if I was wanting to buy a truck, I saw it in the movie and was like, oh my God.
Well, that's what happened with the Trans Am in Smoking the Bandit.
Yeah.
You saw that.
You wanted black with gold. You wanted black with gold.
And you could get the exact one.
Yes.
With the honeycomb wheels. You could totally get it. So, yeah,
you
I'm surprised that they
can't get that with the modern truck.
Right. Okay.
So it's just kind of frustrating. But I will say, the other vehicles that they had were the Hummer EVs. Those are like the camera car was a Hummer EV.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right,
which was cool. And funny enough, I watched this movie on my way to the GMC Sierra EV launch event in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they did this like unveiling of the new $110,000 EV.
You were there.
In real life.
Yeah.
At this lady's house.
Wow.
They rented out this $6 million house in the San Francisco Hills and parked the GMC Sierra EV next to this pool, and it's beautiful, and they showed us all this stuff, whatever. But in the speech during the unveiling, they're like, oh, you might have seen our vehicles in Barbie and Fall Guy. And I was like, I just watched that an hour ago on my plane. So that was very,
very
cool.
in the background jumping up and down. I just watched that.
I was trying to not make a ass of myself because on travel days, I sweatshirt and sweatpants when I'm on the plane, because then there's no belt. So TSA doesn't try to, fondle me.
Right.
So I always go no belt, soft clothes. I'm gonna sit in a plane, right?
Yeah.
We step off the plane. Mm-hmm. GMC Hummer EV shows up at baggage claim, and they're like, Mr. Zack, this is for you. And I go, cool. I literally walk out of baggage claim, get into a Hummer.
Oh my gosh.
And they drive me to this $6 million house. Everyone's in suits, ties.
Oh my gosh.
Now, to be fair, some of the journalists weren't. They were in the same boat as me.
Okay. Yeah.
But all of they had servers, they had caviar, they had, this was $1 million production, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there in dirty sweatpants and a hoodie, having just watched a movie. And I'm at this beautiful house. Yeah. The house was so nice. Yeah. This is a true story.
Yeah.
I walk in and the GMC people are like, hey, we'll take your luggage, all this stuff. You don't have to just leave it with us. And I'm like, cool. Yeah. And I walk in and I'm like, this is kind of a small lobby for the hotel.
Yeah.
I thought that we were at the hotel.
Wow.
Because it was this giant, beautiful house. This house in the hills, they rent out to Crate and Barrel for photo shoots.
Wow.
The owners own a winery. So they had the whole front of the house was all hundreds, if not thousands of bottles of wine.
Wow.
And
Wow,
I'm
that's
going
cool.
like, this is a very small lobby, and I didn't know where. And I bit my tongue. I just didn't think of it, but I genuinely was going to go like, where's my room? Because I would like to go freshen up and maybe change.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm glad I didn't say anything because I was talking to the GMC rep, and they're like, this is a lady's house.
Wow.
And I was like, what? The
Yeah,
house
that's
across
crazy.
the street was $16 million.
Wow.
I mean, it had like a 19-car garage. It was crazy. Anyway, GMC.
That's about half the price of a $16 million man.
That's true. Yeah, or $32 million man.
32 million. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
But yeah, so I really liked the brand deal in this movie.
Yeah.
Because they were tongue in cheek about it.
Yeah, it's true. They were pretty upfront.
They were
about
up.
it.
I like that. I don't like when. Do you remember the movie Battleship?
Well, I know of it. I never watched it.
I went and saw it with my cousin
I'm
McLean.
sorry.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
He like jumps through like a subway billboard, and then
really?
like one of the aliens is like jumping over a guy, and he's holding a Subway cup like front and center.
No.
I hate that.
Yeah.
But when they were in this movie, they were so upfront about it, and they were like, they made it into a joke.
Yeah.
Like when he's like, I'm going to take one of these trucks, and he's like, we only have 2 of them from GMC.
Right.
Like, you know, like
because he says it was like some
yeah,
sort of
this is
deal
a
or
brand
whatever.
deal
It's a
for
brand
GMC.
deal,
Like,
yeah.
it very much reminded me of Wayne's World, where they do the whole product placement scene.
Right.
Where he's like, hey, I just can't believe you'd sell out. And he's like wearing Adidas head to toe.
And he's like, I would never sell out. And then
but I'm a little thirsty. And it's
Right.
like, Pepsi. Wait, this is Pepsi? It's such a good scene.
Right.
That I like it when they're just upfront about it. Like, don't.
Sure.
That's the biggest thing. And to rant yet again, don't
Okay.
dupe me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was in San Diego when I flew watching Duel. That's the only reason I took the flight, was just to watch Duel. And I landed in San
Right.
Diego. I was walking down the street, and this guy comes up to me, and he's like, hey, I'm this musician. And he's like, I got CDs.
Okay.
And I was like, cool, man. He's like, he's like trying to hand me the CD, and he's like, yeah, we're performing down the street, like, you know, and all this stuff. And he's like, we're just out here grinding, trying to make it work. And I was like, cool, man, yeah. And he's like, keeps trying to give me this CD.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I actually said to him, I was like, hey, you know, no cars come with CD players anymore, and Lexus canceled it last year, and Subaru's canceling it this year.
Really?
I gave him very specific CD player car information.
Right.
And he was like, oh, man, he's like, we're doing the retro thing. Ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be able to listen.
Okay.
But then he gives me a CD, and then I'm like, yeah, cool, man, I'll check it out. And he goes, well, you see, we can't be just giving away the CDs. It's already in my hand.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, I don't have any cash. And I like shove it into his chest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, take this back. And he's like, we do Apple Pay and Venmo. And I'm like, nah. And then I just walked away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't try to pull the wool over.
Right.
If you said, hey, we're trying to raise funds for our show, could you
Right.
buy a CD?
Yeah. Right.
At least I would have thought about it.
Straight up like that. Just go, yeah, you know,
That's how I feel about product placement.
Yeah.
You know, it be straight up. And in this movie, they're like, ha, yeah, this is product placement.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's funny. That's I enjoyed that. And now it kind of takes the pressure off of me as a viewer of being like, oh, I wonder how much they had to pay for the rights to use this.
Yeah.
You know, whenever I see
Which
a badge uncovered in a movie of like a Ford logo, and I'm like, oh, how many lawyers got involved with this? Did they have to pay that? Once they said it, I'm like, it's a brand deal. It's funny. Let's run with it. And it took that off of me.
That's the funny thing too about watching. We're talking about Duel. We're talking about older movies.
Yeah.
When you watch older movies, there's a ton of unsolicited product placement in there that never was meant to be. Like you'll see a cafe. They'll walk into a cafe and there'll be a big Coca-Cola clock, and it's obviously this big ad for Coca-Cola. But Coke didn't pay for that.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't even cross anyone's mind.
Yeah.
And then someone went, wait a minute. I bet we could get people to give us money.
Yeah.
And then put those things in, do product placements. And then that actually became a very good, especially for smaller movies, to do product placement so that they had some income coming in.
Yeah.
But then it got crazy, and I love the fact that Wayne's World did that with the product placement because it was so funny and so obvious.
Yeah. Another great example is, oh God, why am I blanking now? The world where everything's fake, and he's on a TV show. And he does a Truman Show.
Truman Show, yeah.
Where his wife turns and she goes, the freshly brewed beans from Nicaragua, and then he goes, "Who are you talking to?"
Oh,
there's no one here. Because she's doing an ad read in their life.
Yeah, that's right.
Such a good scene.
I haven't seen the whole movie.
Really?
No, I've never seen the whole Truman movie. I do.
He drives a third-gen Ford Taurus in it, so maybe we could work that in just so you can see that movie.
I would like to see that movie because I've heard about the fact of how well it was done. You know, it's so iconic.
There's also watch the movie.
Yeah.
There's CGI in the movie.
Okay.
I don't think you'll see it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm curious. Okay, next episode we'll do Truman Show.
Okay. All right.
Just to talk about the Ford Taurus and I believe Ford Ranger that his best friend drives.
Okay. All right.
But there's a CGI shot in the movie.
Really? Okay.
Part of it's CGI.
All right. Let me. Don't tell me. I'll try and see if I can see it. Because there are some older movies when CGI was pretty new that they're really obvious. Like some of it is like
the 1950s movie Rear View. You ever see that movie?
No. What?
You never seen Rear View?
You mean the Hitchcock movie?
Yeah. What was it? Looking Back?
Rear Window?
Rear Window.
Yeah, Rear Window.
Rear View.
There was a CGI thing in there?
Well, it was like I don't know if it was like claymation or something, but he jumps out of a window and for like 2 seconds it looks hand drawn and you're like, what the fuck? Well, it makes zero sense.
No, they used to do stuff
Terminator
like that.
1 with no skin.
Oh, yeah.
Bad. Ed 209, no good.
Well, it was the best that they really could do back then.
Yeah.
That was okay, and it was passable. Part of the thing with stop frame animation is that there's no blurring between frames.
Yeah.
So that is what makes it look stuttering and doesn't make it look realistic. So when you have stuff like that, then it's a little bit obvious.
We do need to get some trivia before we get out of here.
Sounds good. All right.
Brought to you by, but in no way sponsored by IMDb.
Yep.
With 8.5 car rolls called the cannon and roll on the second try, the stunt team of the movie broke the Guinness Book of World Records for the most car rolls. A fact of which Gale actually mentions in the dialogue.
That is true. I remember them talking about that, and I thought, no, that can't be real. That can't be. They just made that up for the movie.
That was actually a Guinness Book of World Records most for a movie. I believe in like motorsport, it's like 12.
Even more than the Bond movie Casino Royale, where they flipped the Aston Martin like a whole bunch of times.
That's a good point. We saw that Aston Martin.
We did.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was very cool. Yeah,
we need to do an episode about our time there.
We do.
Colt is asked whether there's an Oscar for stunts in movies, which he denies.
Yeah.
This is a real frustration among stunt performers, given that almost every other technical category has its own award at the Oscars and at the Emmys and SAG Awards. In fact, SAG Awards do in fact give out this award. Director David Leitch, a former stuntman himself, said that he made Fall Guy as a love letter to the stunt community, giving them recognition that they deserve. Many filmmakers, including David Leitch, have been pushing for years to have an Oscar for best stunts, but the Academy's motivations for not doing so is that the awards ceremony is already quite long and that a best stunts Oscar might prompt stunt teams to go to the more extreme and unsafe lengths just to win an award. Which is semi-fair.
Yeah, kind of, but that's also true of like every other thing within the film industry as you go to those lengths.
Yeah, I mean, the method actors that don't bathe for 3 months. And you know.
Well, and so, you could see that. But I do agree, though, that every like that is truly, if you think about it, that is one thing that's neglected, and it shouldn't be, because it's a tremendous amount of skill and effort and talent that goes into stuff like that. So,
Ryan Gosling had a chance to encounter with Steven Spielberg, who told him that he loved this movie. Gosling said, "As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter anymore what happened. Steven Spielberg liked it. That was an all-time important moment for me. I'm really excited for people to see it. I think it's a really special movie." You didn't think so, so moving on.
It's not that I didn't. I mean,
no, you spit on Ryan Gosling.
No, I'm telling you, I'm jealous of his six-pack, okay? Sure. That's what I'm just saying, okay?
The $6 Million Man in 1974. So we actually improperly did the inflation calculator.
Never 74, okay.
So let's do 74. He is now the $40 million man.
40 million. Wow, 40 million.
$40,635,836.91 man.
So 40 million, though, is still, like, that seems so low
yeah,
for stuff like that. Because if you now think about Boston Dynamics and the actual robotic stuff that they have out there, that's like billions of dollars. Yeah. There's no way. So.
The $6 Million Man bionic sound effect was used as a tribute to Lee Majors, who starred as the lead in the series, as well as the series this film is based on.
Yeah.
So you called that out.
I did. I remember hearing it, and I'm like, okay, that's a wink in the camera too. Exactly. Yeah. In fact, during that scene, Ryan Gosling actually, I believe he looks into the camera. When because he's thrown against the wall, or he's trying to get away or do something, and his action, they have the Bionic Man sound effect, and I think he looks at the screen. I'm not sure, but it's kind of it's super, super short. But
maybe I just didn't hear it through my free United Airlines headphones that I listened to this movie on, that I had to take out three times because my ears were physically hurting.
Yeah, you would never have heard it on the plane, I'm sure, or even caught that. But
last one, as noted on camera in the scene where Colt first borrows an American-spec left-hand drive pickup, the vehicles used in the Sydney-based shoot are that of product placement purposes. Colt drives a GMC pickup, but Jody is shown riding in a GM-produced Hummer EV during the Metal Storm filming sequences. Yeah. GM did, in fact, purchase product placement rights for the film itself.
Well, and did you notice, too, it was pretty obvious that the Metal Storm logo was almost exactly the Metallica logo.
Oh, yeah.
It looks exactly. And I thought for the longest time, without seeing, because I didn't know it was Metal Storm, I thought, they're doing a Metallica movie.
Yeah.
That's an obvious product placement.
I would love like a Metal Storm T-shirt or something.
Oh,
like
that would be cool.
Love
that would be cool.
Movie, like things that only exist in movies.
Yeah.
Like there's a beer company that only exists for like TV shows. Like they're all filled with it's like just prop beer. It's red with like a gold label. Okay. And it's produced somewhere in LA, and it's just they're just cans of it.
Yeah.
For TV show. Like I would love like a can of that, because that's a if you know you know type thing.
Yeah, exactly. I
would love to see a finished Metal Storm movie.
Yeah.
Like just like true, it's just funny because it's that a movie that only exists within a movie.
Well, and it's funny at the end, of course, it's a spoiler, but Jason Momoa at the end or whatever.
Yeah.
Being the hero of that. Yeah. Actually was. I actually kind of laughed. I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And
overall, I think it was fun. Yeah. I think it was a very fun movie.
It was a fun movie. I just
you hated it.
No.
You told me off air. You said, don't make me watch that freaking movie ever again.
No, I think it was the fact that it didn't know what it was supposed to be, because the love or not the love scenes, but the romantic parts of it with Ryan Gosling and what's her face, they were super serious, and I was like, please don't be serious, because this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Don't be serious about love. Love is not serious.
Love is love is fake. Love isn't real.
Love is
it's
CGI.
Just a chemical in your head.
Love is CGI.
Yeah.
No, the reality is that it kind of chopped it up a bit, and then I was like, well, are they supposed to be serious here? But I did love the parts of the movie where they were having fun with it, where they were just kind of running around doing stunts and the silly stunts that they did on the truck where the tail of the truck or the dumpster part of the truck was spinning around. And stuff. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
I like that. That was fun. But they showed so much of the Sydney Opera House.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like it was in like every scene.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're in front of the Sydney Opera.
Yeah.
Oh, look over there, we're in front of the Sydney Opera. I mean, Sydney Opera House. It was like you knew exactly where you were at. And then they did this like bizarre beach sand scene.
Yeah.
Where they hauled in all the sand in front of the Sydney Opera House, which kind of probably was a joke.
Yeah.
That they were using it so much. And it was fun where they cut between like the end movie, Metal Storm.
Yeah.
And what they were currently shooting to show it is true when you're actually on the set of a movie, it's not really like that super glossy and wonderful and all that really cool. But once it gets into post and they do a lot of work on the colorizing and stuff, it really takes on a different look and feel. And so that's why it was kind of fun to see that too, where they, they're showing, there's some guys running around the sand, but then they show like the effects added and all the other stuff, which is great. And it's true too, when they have prop guns, they literally have like a light at the end of the prop gun. It's like a little toy prop. And so that they know when the guy pulls the trigger, that's when the laser beam's supposed to shoot out.
Yeah.
So that is one of those things that, that's like a real thing. Like that they have that stuff. So
I thought it was really fun. Would you change the channel?
I probably would not, actually, believe it or not. I know I dissed some of it. I wouldn't watch it during the scenes where Ryan Gosling's talking to Emily Blunt. So I wouldn't sit down, but I don't think I'd change the channel. I think I'd let it roll. Yeah, I probably would not. I wouldn't sit down, but I would be like, oh, that's a cool scene with the truck. Stuff. And again, it just got too slow and too serious with the whole romantic relationship stuff. Like, that's the thing I could have done without. But
Sure.
But again, it was fun to watch Duel, and then a 53-year later.
Yeah.
Movie.
We talk about a pacing difference.
Oh my gosh! You're talking about literally night and day when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because you're absolutely right. The pacing, you have to keep people's interest in movies, especially nowadays. So you have to keep it moving. You gotta bring up stuff, have some interest, keep it going, and Duel was kind of like, when is this gonna start, and when is this gonna happen? So. Anyway, but it was a fun movie. Like I say, I would probably just leave it on, but I wouldn't sit down and watch it probably.
Cool. So, very much agreed.
All right.
I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. Yep. We'll be back again, maybe with Truman Show, maybe with something else.
Fun. I don't know. That would be fun. Either that or even either a James Bond movie or our trip to the we could talk about
James Bond
exhibit.
James Bond
exhibit. That would be a fun one. Although that might be a little hard for people to relate to.
That's true.
But maybe Truman Show would be good. Fun. So,
cool.
All right.
We'll catch you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.